जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी य गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी मुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गोपीनाथ श्री राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ श्री राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रमा जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रमा निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय ओम विश्वाद परमहंस परिवाराचार्य सत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्तवान समरा श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय जय ओम विश्वाद परमहंस परिवाराचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय गौर प्रमानंद भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 16, Text 18 and 19 will cover. We'll recite the text 18. Dehinam atmavat prestaha Dehinam atmavat prestaha Suhurdam nandi vardanaha Suhurdam nandi vardanaha मुक्त संग प्रसंगायम मुक्त संग प्रसंगोयम दंडपाणिरासाधुषु दंडपाणिरासाधुषु देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेस्तः सुहृदं नंदिवर्धनः मुक्त संग प्रसंगोयम दंडपाणिरासाधुषु देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेस्तः सुहृदं नंदिवर्धनः मुक्त संग प्रसंगोयम दंडपाणिरासाधुषु देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेस्तः सुहृदं नंदिवर्धनः मुक्त संग प्रसंगोयम दंडपाणिरासाधुषु देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेस्तः सुहृदां नंदिवर्धनः मुक्त संग प्रसंगोयम दंडपाणिरासाधुषु देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेस्तः सुहृदं नंदिवर्धनः मुक्त संग प्रसंगोयम दंडपाणिरासाधुषु देहिनामात्मवत् प्रेस्तः सुहृदं नंदिवर्धनः Mukta Sangha Prasangoyam Danda Panera Sadhasu Dehinam. To all living entities having a body, Atmavat as himself, Prestaha considering dear, Suhurdam of his friends, Nandi Vardhanaha increasing pleasures, Mukta Sangha with persons devoid of all material contamination, Prasangaha immediately associated. I am this king, Danda Panihi, a chastising hand, Asadhusu to the criminals. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: the king will consider all embodied living entities as dear as his own self, and he will always be increasing the pleasure of his friends. He will be intimately associated with liberated persons, and he will be chastising hand to all impious persons. Purport: the word Dehinam refers to those who are embodied. The living entities are embodied in different forms, which number 8.4 million species. All of these were treated by the king in the same way he would treat himself. In this age, however, so-called kings and presidents do not treat all other living entities as their own self. Most of them are meat-eaters, and even though they may not be meat-eaters and may pose themselves be very religious and pious, they still allow cow slaughter within their state. Such a sinful heads of state cannot actually be popular at any time. Another significant word in this verse is Mukta Sangha Prasangaha, which indicates that a king was always associating with liberated persons. Text 19. Ayam tu Shakshat Bhagavam Striyadishaha Kutascha Atma Kalayavatrinaha Yasmin Navidyara Chittam Nirartakham Pashyanti Nanavatvam Api Pratitam. Translation: this king is the master of the three worlds, and he is directly empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is without change, and he is being incarnation of the Supreme, known as a Shakti Aveshara Avatar. Being a liberated soul and completely learned, he sees all material varieties as meaningless, because their basic principle is nescience. Purport: the reciters of these prayers are describing the transcendental qualities of Prithu Maharaj. These qualities are summarized in the word Shakshat Bhagavan. This indicates that Maharaj Prithu is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead and therefore possesses unlimited good qualities. Being an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Maharaj Prithu could not be equal in his excellent qualities. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is fully occupied with 6 kinds of opulences, and Prithu was also empowered in such a way that he could display these 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in full. The word Kutastha, meaning without change, is also very significant. There are 2 kinds of living entities, Nitya Mukta and Nitya Baddha. A Nitya Mukta never forgets his position as eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who does not forget this position and knows that he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord is Nitya Mukta. Such a Nitya Mukta living entity represents the Super Soul as his expansion. As stated in the Vedas, Nityo Nityanam. Thus, Nitya Mukta living entity knows that he is an expansion of the Supreme Nitya or the eternal Supreme Personality of Godhead. Being in such a position, he sees the material world is with a different vision. The living entities who is a Nitya Baddha or eternally conditioned sees the material world as being actually different from one another. In this connection, we should remember that embodiment of the conditioned soul is considered to be like a dress. One may dress in a different ways, but really learned man does not take dresses into consideration. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 5.10, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaivasya Pakecha Pandita Samadarshanaha. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog and dog-eater, outcast. Thus, a learned man does not look upon the dresses that externally cover the living entity, but sees the pure soul within the varieties of dress, knows very well that varieties of dress are creation of the nescience, avidya rachitam. Being a Sakti Avashya avatar empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prithu Maharaj did not change his spiritual position, and consequently there was no possibility of his viewing the material world as reality. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's chant Manklacharan. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-jana-salakaya Chakshuru-militam yena Tasmai Shri-guruve namaha Shri Chaitanya-manobhistam Stapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Vandeham Shri-guru Shri-Utapatakamalam Shri-gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri-rupam Sagrajatam Sagagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Syan He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Let me take the blessings of all the Vaishnavis assembled here. So the right words comes at the right time. I'll take the blessings of my Siksha Gurus and spiritual master and then Srila Prabhupada. So text 18. So here it's this is the what means the singers Sudha and Madaga, they are praising the King Prithu. So they are giving the example how king, he sees everyone as dear as his own self, and is always increasing the pleasures of the friend, and meantime he'll always engage, means associate with the liberated persons, and whereas in case of someone is impious, he will chastise them, right? Prabhupada clearly writes in the purport in the current state how it is done. So they'll just showcase themselves as a pious, but they all support the sinful hands. The state is in a sinful hands. So I just want to tell one incident which Giriraj Maharaj has told. We all know that building a Jihu temple was a very challenging one. Means it almost like they have given a blade and everything to build a temple for Radha Rasa Bihari. So if you haven't read, please read I'll Build a Temple. It's such a nice book. So in that one, means this is Giriraj Maharaj is one of his lectures while talking, he's telling. So it's people knows during the building the temple the challenges. He said that after building the temple also there are so many challenges we faced it. One time what happened, the police has come and raided. There was lots of rumors have been spreading. In the chakras they have the radiation, they are spreading the information, there are sensors going on like that. There are so many and then the police has come to raid them. So they have come to raid the whole temple. Right? So that time Giriraj Maharaj was there and Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was the GBC. So they have raided every places. They want to go even into the Prabhupada room. They maintain the Prabhupada room. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he opened the door and then one of the police person asked it, what do you think, why we are coming and searching your temple? Maharaj said that because there are lots of Westerners are here, you are thinking we are doing a suspicious activity, so that's the reason you are just coming and searching. So that time one police person has told, if the intention is looking for the Westerners, we will be looking at the Holiday Inn, where there are more Westerners are there in the Juhu temple. So it was like, Maharaj was like, yeah, that makes sense, right? Because if Westerners are coming and doing, that time Grihaj Maharaj was telling, because, so what we are propagating is that, because Holiday Inn, what they will do is they'll be eating the meat and having a intoxication and other stuff. Whereas what we are proposing is like, don't eat meat, don't have intoxication and everything. That is what we cannot tolerate it. All the government cannot tolerate that one. So that's our reason they come and do it. So means it is in 1980s, right? So even that time, the government is something they want to spread this kind of one. Whenever there is something good is happening, they want to do it. One more example. So during COVID time, there was lockdown. It's a very strict lockdown in my place in the India. So they have closed the temple, but they have opened the liquor shops. That's the state. So-called, what we call as a so-called from Bharat Bhumi with a pious background, everything, but the states or government are here. That's not the case for the Prithu Maharaj. That's what the Prabhupada clearly says. He didn't explain any of the good qualities of the king. He's just trying to compare what is the current state or how the kings are there. If you just really look at what is happening in that, the same thing is what happening here. Right? So let's spend some time on text 19. Okay. So until text 18, if you look at that one, so predominantly they'll be praising the king. So you take care of everyone, you are the well-wisher of everyone, you seize even including all the living entities, not only the human beings, all their praises are, if you look at that one, you always in the path of piety. So that's how they'll just do it. So when you are in a good really kingdom, there will not be any scarcity of rainfall and everything. So until text 18, if you look at why King Prithu, it's the same king for other Maharaj, right? Yudhishthira Maharaj also, he was such a pious king and one. Same thing, we have seen Ambrish Maharaj. There are so many Maharajas are there in the, kings are there in the Bhagavatam, right? So we may intend to think, oh, this is case for all the Maharaj, the glorification is common. That's where the text 19 is a very important one, right? So text 19, the very important fact is, I am this king, too. It's like but. The very important thing is, the connecting factor is but. Shakshat Bhagavan. So they are telling, these are all the good qualities of the king, but you are not a mere normal king. You are a Shakshat Bhagavan. So when Sridhar Swami writes about the King Prithu Maharaj, when he is telling, he says that he is one of the most important Shakti Avesha avatar in the king. So in the king one, even when some of the acharyas quote that even Lord Ram, that in terms of Shakti Avesha avatar, King Prithu is being glorified more as a king. So that's what the very important one, glorification of the King Prithu. So we should not take like, yeah, okay, if you look at text 18 or 17, it just talks about the king one, right? So we should not get carried away with this king. That's what this 19th is the pinnacle, or they don't want us to deviate or leave from something else to take as a normal king. They are trying to set us up he's a Shakti Avesha avatar, right? So let's try to understand what is avatar and Shakti Avesha avatar, then we'll see, right? So Prabhupada means, this is generally we know that Shakti Avesha avatar means any living entity is empowered with some quality, right? So Prabhupada gives an example. It's like a power of attorney. So like let's say if somebody is going to travel there, they'll give a power of attorney. On behalf of me, he can sell, he can sign for that. But that power is only for a certain, it can be for a certain property or a certain specific one. So that means I cannot say that I am that person. Means I have been empowered or endowment with a certain specific reason. That's a Shakti Avesha avatar. That's what Prabhupada always gives that example. Right? So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, so means Mahaprabhu, when he gives his teachings, he says that avatars, he tells there are three type of avatars. One is that Amsa avatar, second is Guna avatar, third one is category Shakti Avesha avatar. Okay, Amsa avatar is like a partial incarnations, right? So generally all the Purusha avatars and Matsya, all over are considered as a partial incarnations. Even sometimes the Manus, if they are not getting a proper Manus, Lord itself have come empower somebody to become a Manu. They are also called a partial incarnation, right? Guna avatars, we know that, right? It's like Lord Shiva, Brahma and Vishnu, they are Guna avatar. Then Shakti Avasha avatar, that's a very important. So Prabhupada has written a very big purport and he has explained it very nicely in Chaitanya Charitamrita to understand. So what he is telling is Shakti Avasha avatar, and technically he splits into two categories, Bhagavat Avesha and Shakti Avesha. Bhagavat Avesha is for the divine, some divine quality. He gives the example of Lord Kapila Dev, Rishabha Dev and one. Whereas in case of Shakti Avesha, that is, they empowered with certain quality. For example, they given 7, in that Maharaj Prithu is Palana Shakti. So that means he is empowered to rule and maintain the world. So that's a whole, entire all the living entities, not just the earthly kingdom. So that's a whole one. So means, for example, Narad Muni is Bhakti Shakti, right? So there are so many other one. So these are the very importance of the one. Okay. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu shows this one. So in simple, Kaviraj Goswami says, Mahaprabhu delivered all the fallen souls in 3 ways. One is with, he came as a Shakshat Darshan. That means he come as himself. We know when he goes to South India tour, all the people he made them to chant and give the Krishna Prema. Even in the Jarikan, all the animals and everyone. So that's a Shakshat. Then second thing is, he just empowering. It's like a Avesha. Right? So it's like we know, he empowered, Mahaprabhu empowered all the 6 Goswamis. So that's the reason we get everything empowered. Then the third one is Mahaprabhu, how he has delivered, where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says it's Avir Baba. So that means Mahaprabhu come, means as a, means without invisibly he'll come to someone's body and then enables him and empower him to spread the Krishna consciousness. So that's the reason he gives a one example. Means there are quite a few examples are there. There is a one particular example is Nakula Brahmachari. He made him, means Mahaprabhu entered in his body. So he became like a mad and then he started giving a one. So the Lord can come in any ways. That's a very important of it. That's what the King Prithu is here, Shakshat Bhagavan. So we cannot, the very important thing is, if you look at the text 19, I'll just read the translation again. So far until text 18, they are spoken about the qualities of King Prithu. But here they are trying to say King Prithu is not a normal king. He is a Lord himself. This king is the master of the 3 worlds. He is directly empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is without a change and he is an incarnation of Supreme known as Shakti Avesha Avatar. Being a liberated soul, completely known, he sees all material varieties as meaningless because their basic principle is nescience. Right? So, in this verse, the second aspect of it, one is that we saw about Shakshat Bhagavan, Shakti Avesha Avatar. That's what the Prabhupada covers in the first paragraph. Then second paragraph, he's trying to give the Nitya Mukta, Nitya Siddha, right? So these are the 2, 1. So this is, means Prabhupada covered 1. I just want to, again, this is one of the Prabhupada's, magic or explaining how we can understand. So does it mean that whoever in the material world comes, they have become contaminated, they are becoming a Nitya Baddha? Prabhupada gives an example. Sometimes Nitya Mukta comes to the material world, but they are not getting contaminated by the material energies. He gives a very beautiful analogy. So he says that one, somebody is in a contact with police doesn't mean they have to be a criminal, right? So if police is in coming to my house doesn't mean I have done any mistake. I am not a criminal. Maybe I may be something to help the police or something one. So that's what he is trying to say. He say if someone is in contact with police, our vision is we see as a criminal. So that means they are nitya baddha. That means somebody is in the material world, they are conditioned on one. Prabhupada is telling not necessary everyone is police in touch is not a criminal. They also have one. So that means the quality of nitya mukta is when they have in touch with the material one, they never get contaminated. They are all eternally liberated. They can come to material world to uplift us, to take back us to Godhead. That's a very important one. And the very important in this one is, I just want to touch quite few top on here. So the very important thing, the being a liberated soul, completely in order, he sees all material varieties as meaningless because their basic principle is nescience. Right? Let's try to understand this is very important, which is one means we think that we have improved, our life has become improved and we have grown and everything, right? So if you see in last 20 to 30 years, not more than that, if you take 20 to 30 years, they are telling that the depression rate has increased by 50%. In comparative 30 years, the depression rate is 50% has increased. Right? So one of the tough medicine to get in the chemist arrest for the depression medicine because that's always out of stock. So anxiety disorders, not anxiety disorders, it's increased by 25% in the last 20 years. And one of the very important reason for the young adults death reason is suicide, which is happened recently in the last 20 years. That's what the one. We think we see our material growth, but where we are going towards is, right? So also they have done analysis in the middle of the ocean. They have trying to collect our garbages which we thrown and everything. So they couldn't do it because the size it's beyond the France, the whole France. It's beyond the France, that much of amount of garbages we kept in the ocean. That is something, the statistics 5 years before, I don't know now how much countries we have covered. So that much of the one, right? So, and now, means my Guru Maharaj always quote this example. We think we solve the problem. We think that means petrol, diesels, all those things are the problem. We want to go to electric, right? He gives always the example. You go and see the Congos, that cobalt, which they mine it for the one. So all the kids, even a less than 6 years old kid, they are all working for a very standard one, and then the average their day is less than $1 one. Less than $1 what they want. That is what we take, and we are telling that now we are improving our yet. That's what our Guru Maharaj says, that one. Always he gives this example. So, yeah, we think that we improve, but there it's not the case. Even it's almost 1 million species are extinct. Even when we are young, we used to see some kind of birds which are no more there. When you go to our hometown, we cannot see that birds anymore. That's how we just go. So that's the reason they see that it's like a meaningless, because it doesn't. We think that we are improving our situation. It's not the case, right? So I think this is very popular, and every one of us knows, right? We all take a painkillers, right? We take a painkillers. There is a one company, they are the opiate, the painkillers they generated. So they corrupted all the doctors, saying that this doesn't have any side effect. So it's like they started giving more of such painkillers. So in the last 20 years itself, statistically more than 500,000 of people have died because of the excess usage of the painkiller, that opiate painkiller. That's how this, what we so-called one is keep going on in. right? So that's how one. So that's the reason if you look at that one, all the material varieties they don't see is a meaningless because the principle is science. Prahlad Maharaj says that one, right? You means it's not material activity makes somebody is to become a what is it, life miserable. If they started planning for that activity itself, they are getting their sadness part. It's not like you do. If you started thinking only, then means yes, you are suffering. That's what Prahlad Maharaj says that one. Prahlad Maharaj says that once you started thinking itself, you just started becoming. So this is the state. If you try to keep, this is something people like me, we have to keep reading and reminding. Then only we'll understand the importance of or how merciful Mahaprabhu and our Guru Parampara Prabhupada has given, right? So otherwise, if you don't really see that with our material vision or something, if you go in office we have a chat, then we think that, oh, we have to improve on this thing. But the reality is not been, it's always covered. We don't see the other side of the picture, right? So recently, Swayambhavan Keshav Maharaj, I think most of you would have heard it. He's given a very beautiful example, the school analogy. In a school, 50 years before in America, what are the three major issues and what happened with the three major issues now? So we think that our kids have, we have grown, they are studying so much and everything. 50 years before, Maharaj was quoting it, 50 years before the three major issues was, one is that keeping the chewing gum under the table. So that's one of the major issues to the teachers. So then second one is they cheat in the exam. That's one of the major in their teachers. And third one is they talk in the class. I always used to ask my son, means when I had one, my teachers used to beat me. That's how common we bought it. I always ask one, have you ever got beaten from your teacher? He said, no. I said, oh, you are super, you are enjoying it all one. You don't have one. You know how much beating we used to get? I don't know about others. That's how we do it. But Swayambhavan Keshav Maharaj said that the current challenge is, teacher's problem is, number one is, means this is in America, luckily not in Australia, but I don't know about Australia, I'm not studying in one. So, okay, so he said that three reasons. One is that students are assaulting the teacher, so they are beating the teachers. So it's not, it's other way. Okay, so that's the one. And second is, it's very hard pill to swallow. It's like teenage pregnancy. And third one is, Maharaj said that it is on the gun culture, which we all know. So that's how it's all going. We think we are going fast. Where we are going, what we are not. That's one. That's what we keep reading, that's what Bhagavatam is keep reminding us. So coming back to the point is like, this is what means we always hear from one side of it, it's always green, you get this, you will achieve it, but we always miss the other point of it, what we are losing it, right? So that's what the Bhagavatam gives us. So with that, if you try to understand that what Prabhupada has given us, right? So I just want to read one Antelila purport by Prabhupada. So when the Lord is unhappy because of the condition of the fallen souls, the devotee consoles him saying, "My dear Lord, do not be in anxiety. This is service. Everyone should adopt the cause of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to relieve him from the anxiety he feels. This is actually service to the Lord. One who tries to relieve the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's anxiety for the fallen soul is certainly a most dear and confidential devotee of the Lord." Right? So Lord is very anxious because of our conditioned nature. So Prabhupada, when he writes it, he says that one. So the devotees of the Lord, the Nitya Muktas, they are all coming here. We'll come and relieve. They are all coming and taking us. That's what all the incarnations what they are coming at. So this is another one important one which I taken from Prabhupada. In 1956 in Bengali he has written one article, so which has been translated one. So Prabhupada gives an example of his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. So he's telling that example. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur did not wait his disciples to attain perfection. So he said that he asked everyone to go and then preach the glories of the Mahaprabhu to come out so that do it. So what he has done is he has empowered all the disciples. So of the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj. So once in related to this, so that's the reason they will not wait for whether you are empowered or qualified. They will means you have the eligibility, qualification. They don't see as a material one. So they empower. So that's where the empowerment parampara gives. So that's what Prabhupada writes. Once Gaur Govind Samaraj, he was giving this, somebody asked it one. Similar line. So he asked it, Maharaj, if you look at Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Papu Thakur, Prabhupada's disciples, they are not much well educated or one, but they are very clever, very intelligent. They can beat anyone how it is. That's what he gives. Then he explains. It's same like a principle of Mukum Karoti Vachalam. Even if you are dumb, you'll get as patient because this is all empowerment coming in the parampara. So that's what the empowerment coming and uplifting us, right? So that's the reason if you go, most of us, our life has been, I can't say in my life it complete change, but it is in a process of one is because of getting the Prabhupada books. Lots of people giving us Prabhupada books. If you're not associated with the Prabhupada books, I don't think so. One, that's the reason they ask us to keep reading it, right? The Prabhupada books are our, it's one of the very important of sadhana. Our Guru Maharaj always says that one. Before you read other books, read sufficiently. He always gives that one. Read sufficiently Prabhupada books, then you read others. I don't know the explanation of sufficiently, so I'm just continuing on reading. So that's a very important one, right? So this empowerment is helping us to go. That's what they come and uplift us. That's what the mood of Prabhupada and one, right? So in that, Bhakti Charu Maharaj, in one of his lecture, he explains that one. We all know Bhakti Charu Maharaj is very close to Prabhupada in his last days. He is one of the one associated along with Tamal Krishna Maharaj, right? So what happened is when during its Prabhupada's last pastimes in this material world, he was hardly eating anything. He was eating very less fruit or juice, or milk. So that's what he is taking it. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj is he will read the letters from him. Whenever there is a letter about book distribution comes, Prabhupada is feel very one. The Prabhupada used the word, this one gives me a life. Prabhupada says, gives me life. Then what happened? Then Tamal Krishna Maharaj sends letters to everyone to increase more. This is what giving the Prabhupada life. So then he encouraged everyone to go and distribute books. That's how they moved. So the reason is that why they do it is to uplift us. Because unless until we don't read and hear it, we'll always think there is something. It's like Prabhupada always get it. We'll always search water in the desert. We'll not get anything. So that's a whole one. I just have one more point, that one. So how we have empowerment and attachment to Krishna. So there is one more lecture I was hearing it. There is one Prabhu, he was telling, distributing 200 books is easier than distributing 20 books. I was like, what is this? So that Prabhu was, his explanation that if you are thinking that you are going to distribute 20 books, then you will be having dependence on yourself, your strength, your ability, your qualification. That's what you will think. Whereas if you think that I want to distribute 200 books, definitely in any of your things is not going to do it. Then you will started thinking on Krishna. That means you started taking the shelter on the Krishna. So that's what the Prabhupada always says that one. Yes, the chanting is important. We have to always chant and remember the Krishna. But when you start doing the services, you will start depending on the Krishna. That's what you will do it. So that will make us to do chant better. So Prabhupada, that's the reason it's not like you just chant. He given us a service, so we take association, we take a dependencies. That will help us to chant one. So with that note, I want to one more Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, right? So he says that one means no. Tam Srimat Krishna Chaitanyam Devam Vande Jagat Guru Yashyanu Kampaya Swapi Mahatbins Santrat Sukam. So means Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, there is no word to glorify him the way he explains, right? So he is telling it, let me offer my respectful obeisance to spiritual master of the Tam, entire world, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why? Yasya Anukampaya, because of his compassion. Swapi, even a dog can swim across the great ocean. Swa, he is telling a dog can ocean. So that is the compassion of the Mahaprabhu. We take a shelter of it so that we can cross the one. So that's what you do it. So it's all said that that's a whole the mood and one, right? Otherwise, like we all coming back to the King Prithu Maharaj, what is his way of thinking is that. So he sees the material varieties as meaningless, but whereas we are attached, it means at least in my case we have attached. By reading this and having this, it gives us the knowledge. Because why we have attachment? Because of principle of nescience, ignorance. That's what the ignorance is what been destroyed through our Prabhupada's purport and his lectures and his books and what doing it. Okay, so I'll summarize here. So this text 18, he tells about the qualities of the king and how he sees every living entity, not only a human in beings, and how his association and chastising part. And 19 is pinnacle or summary of or a remainder of what they are doing. King Prithu Maharaj is not an ordinary king. He is a Sakshat Bhagavan. So we should not just carry it away. Oh, okay, that's what he is trying to do. And then the other importance is we saw the Sakti Avatar, and then how the meaningless or how nescience or ignorance is capturing with the material world, and we think we are progressing it, and how we are progressing is which is being shown in this book. Yeah, I'll pause here. Any comments, clarification, questions? Yeah, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grindra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaur Brahman.